There is something I would call heartwarming about a team of Rangers. Whether they're the powerful kind or the Sentai variety, something about those multicolored heroes makes you think you're in for a pretty fucking fun 23 minutes. And these teams of Rangers have had all kinds of colors, from the classic MMPR color scheme of red, blue, black, yellow, pink, and then a sixth being green, to something maybe a bit more different like just red, yellow, blue. But it got me thinking, well, what are my favorite Rangers of all these colors? There's been so many Power Rangers, Sentai Rangers that all fit into their different color niches. Doc, Jake, Marvelous, Noah, Ziggy. There's a whole bunch of Rangers out there, and I really wanted to talk about which ones spoke the most to me in their respective colors. So in this video, I'm going to go over each and every Ranger, color, and my favorite Ranger from each group. Yes, Gunmetal is separate because Big Rax was that fucking guy. First up is the color present in every single Sentai or Power Ranger show, that being red. Now it didn't take that long for me to figure out my favorite red, but my honorable mention actually did take quite a bit. There's a lot of great reds, as we all know. I'm sure my favorite isn't your favorite, but my favorite is Boken Red. Satoru Akashi is Boken Red, aka the leader of the 30th Super Sentai team, Go-Go Sentai Bokenger. It is very normal for someone's favorite red to be someone who's super not of himself, super unselfish, and super outgoing. However, I find Satoru's sort of mission first perspective on things to be really interesting and something I really gravitate towards. Everything he did in his show, from supporting his team, his really great use of tough love was something I respected especially, and I really enjoyed watching him soften up after his traumas with his past team through the actions and adventures with the Bokengers, and I thought that was something that I really enjoyed. It's easy to sit here and say, oh, he was that guy, he had all this aura, yada yada yada, but in all reality, I kind of think the fact that he spent so much time focusing on Precious first, but also expecting so much from his team, led them to want to meet his expectations. And I thought that was cool. I thought that was a really interesting take on a leader. He felt less like he was trying to teach me a lesson. In a lot of ways, he kind of felt like he was trying to get a job done, which I really liked. My honorable mention for red is Dawn Momotaro. Momotaro had a really great story. Dawn Brothers is one of my favorite Sentais of all time, much like Bokenger. And the way he interacts with his team, both at the start and at the end, is just this really beautiful arc. And I really think if you haven't seen Dawn Brothers, you should. So my favorite red is Boken Red, with an honorable mention going to Dawn Momotaro. Before I talk about blue, who I believe is the second most regularly appearing color, I want to talk about something that I call red buff. Red buff is when I believe a blue is fundamentally better in the presence of their red, but might not stand out as much by themselves. When I think of this, I think of Hoji, I think of Garo from Kyuranger, and there's a couple other blues that I think of. But so for the blue section, I wanted to do Ranger who does well with red buff, and a Ranger that I think stands alone without red buff, and then honorable mentions for both of those. So let's start with the ones that I think are really great with their red buff. I think first come, first serve is, of course, Hoji. Ban Hoji is a very popular ship, and I think that Hoji specifically is a little bit flat, being kind of a suave English speaker who's a great sharpshooter without Ban, but when he's with Ban, he is easily one of my favorite characters in the show, and they are such a good pair. Every eyeball makes my heart flutter a little bit. I love them so much, and I think Hoji is a really stellar blue when he's in the presence of his red, hence the red buff. As far as honorable mentions go, I want to keep this really simple, and I think it's Ishido. I think Taya and Ishido aren't super... I think Ishido is actually way more interesting than Taya, personally, but when Ishido is around Taya, his gay baby energy makes me like him a lot more. And honestly, in a lot of ways, when he's with Ty, I'd say he's my favorite Boon-Boonger, but when he's not, it's probably like Joe. But I think it's really funny. And so my honorable mention would go to Ishiro, specifically because of his moments with Taya. I think they're really funny. No, Hoji is my favorite red buff blue, and my honorable mention red buff blue is Ishiro. Boon Blue. Now talking about a blue that I think really stands alone without the presence of the red, I think is Sella. Sella, aka Juro Shark, is someone that I really enjoyed watching. I thought her little brother dynamic with her entire fucking team was really awesome, and it was really refreshing. Because normally I feel like the mom role feels like a one-girl team kind of thing usually. It's unfortunate, but that's how it usually feels. But I really enjoyed the fact that Sella got to have dynamics with someone older than her, someone younger than her, someone she was explicitly a rival to. With her red, with her yellow, with her white. Especially with Jewel Tiger, I think she has a really great older sister dynamic to a girl, as opposed to her older sister dynamic with like Yamato. And I really, really think Sella is my favorite Blue Ranger. I'm a real sucker for shark themes. If you know me, you know I love the ocean. So it really isn't super surprising that it was going to be a Shark Ranger, but I really, 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 really do think that Sella pulls her weight. All of her personal episodes are really good. Her motivations are really good to get back to her family. And the bike episode, I unfortunately think was like really funny. And specifically in the movie, I think her personalization as a fighter, which I think could have been explored more in the show. It was touched on a lot, which I thought made for a good setup for the movie, but I would have liked a couple more episodes about it in the show. I really think that her personalization as a fighter against Leo was genuinely awesome. And I'm really, really happy with how she uses blue. And I just love her to bits. My honorable mention for a blue is pretty simple. It is Nobuharu, aka Nosan, aka Kyoryu Blue. Listen, I think he's got game. I think he's peak. I think that's all stuff that's obvious. But I maybe it's just something I feel about blues and their there's something I love about blue responsibility, I would say. But the way Nosan treats his family, the way he goes so far for his niece and his sister, the way he's this armor for the team, the way so much of his protective nature was channeled into Koda in Dino Charge, it just trickled down so much. I really, really feel like if I had to, it was actually really tough to choose between Sella and Nosan, and I think they're for the same reasons that a protective blue is something I'm a huge fan of, and I really, really, really love Nosan. And I think that I think his relationship with Candelera is very sweet. I'm a huge fan of that as well. I really love them showing back up in King Oger for the Kyoryuger crossover, so that Jeremy could get his whole thing about, you know, like interspecies couples. I thought he was really great. I thought he was a phenomenal blue. He's right behind Sella. It's so close, and I've never had like a easier honorable mention to pick than putting these two side by side. I wouldn't say a lot. There's a couple of Sentais that have a red, blue, yellow color scheme, so I'm gonna go ahead and do yellow next, following red and blue, because we all love Dino Thunder, we all love Ninja Storm, we all love Abba Ranger, some of us love Hurricaneger. Okay. My favorite Yellow Ranger is, to nobody's surprise, I've been talking about it constantly on Twitter, that is Goju Tireno. Listen, I thought it was recency bias, and with my honorable mention, I think it's also going to seem that way, but I specifically think that the way Ryugi has been handled and treated in Gojuger is, I think, bar none to another Yellow. Every moment he's had to himself, or even with others, like where he's the focus with others, has been so incredible. His two-parter expressing his devotion to the Tegasword, his fight against Hoeru, his returning to the team, it is so marvelous. And y'all, when I say I am so looking forward to his Ryo Tegasword debut, holy shit, I cannot fucking wait. Goju Tireno, Bakugame Ryugi is like my favorite Yellow ever, and he's going to be very tough to ever top. My honorable mention is also going to seem like recency bias, but it actually goes to Kamakiri Oger. Now, Himeno Ran is someone that I think is really interesting, and I unfortunately don't think she's very close to Ryugi, but it's not really her fault. I just fuck with Ryugi so heavily. I think Himeno Ran's speeches about being selfish are beautiful. I think her moveset is incredible. Her story arc with her parents really got to me, I'm gonna be honest. Her relationship with Rita, her relationship with the rest of the team, her sarcastic humor. I think it's all something that I love from a Yellow, and I specifically love from Himeno Ran. So my favorite Yellow is Bakugame Ryugi, aka Goju Tireno. But my honorable mention has to go to the Queen of Ishibana. This is where we're gonna get a little controversial. The next color is green, and I know what you're thinking. Callie, you're a reasonable person. Clearly, your top green's gonna be Tommy Oliver, aka the Green Wrecker. Brother, I got real bad news for you. That simply ain't the case. My favorite Green Ranger of all time is fucking Ziggy. Ziggy Grover, Ranger Operator Series Green, for literally no other reason than he's one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever seen in Power Rangers. Every interaction he has with Dr. K is pure gold. Every interaction he has with his team is pure gold. And I specifically want to highlight his mannerisms. His actor did such an amazing job bringing like this cartoon character to life. It's the way he talks, the way he acts, the way he fights. It's all translated so well from Go On Green, but into somehow a different character. Like you could show me either one, and I wouldn't know which one you were showing me. But I also kind of would. It's this really okay. Here, no, I would explain it like this. Power Rangers has a history of like not lining up like body language with suit language, because they're using other suits footage some of the time. So so like Zato and Ko don't line up very well a lot of times, I think. But Ziggy and Honto line up so well that I sometimes just associate it with Ziggy. Obviously that episode where he's like, "What's with the big fucking anime eyes?" That's a classic. Tell me, is it wonderful being so stupid? That's classic. I really fucking love Ziggy with all of my heart. Ziggy, I love you so much. My honorable mention is also because I think he's really funny, and he's Shurikenger. Now, okay. Maybe I just see green as a silly, goofy color. Maybe that's just who I am. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't think Shurikenger's gimmick of being a past guy for the entirety of Hurricaneger is not awesome. I think the weirdly emotional thing of him like giving up his body to protect the ninja princess, I think that's so fucking cool. I think that's so fucking awesome. I think I am the ninja of the ninjas, I think that's peak. I think him just playing baseball is awesome. I don't know. I mean, a lot of it definitely comes from loving Cam from Ninja Storm so much. Cam is definitely my favorite Ninja Storm character. And I would say he's behind Shurikenger on my greens list if I'm being totally real with myself. But Shurikenger's... Wow. His presence, his English, it's so cute, it's so funny. I love him so much. If you haven't seen Hurricaneger, watch it for Shurikenger. I promise you will not be disappointed. Because even if in the back of the mind you see Cam, you're hearing, oh my god! After green comes black. No, Dylan is not on this list. If I had a green buff segment, Dylan and Ziggy's relationship would definitely be on there. I think they're really great. I met Dylan's actor at Power Morphicon. He was a really cool guy. He was really chill. But as far as my favorite Black Ranger, this is not surprising to anyone. It's Boken Black. Shelby called this out really accurately when I started watching Bokenger that I was going to love Isamu, and I did. Masumi is just... from shitty little something to prove adventurer kid to second in command to arguably like the Bokenger's next leader. And I think if leader has to be color locked, dude, I think he should take over as red. His whole journey of confessing his feelings to Natsumi, being the youngest on the team, having shit to prove, his battle with Yaiba, that weird destiny arc he had in that last bit, and not to mention, I think he had all of the sickest Bokenger cheating transformations where like they run the wheel on a bullet or some shit. I think he ran it on like 2 bullets and an arrow, and I think the main bad guy a couple of times. He was running shit down. Masumi stood on business for most of the show, and I can really appreciate that. Listen, I love Bokenger to pieces, and I think the main reasons I really love it are Boken Silver, Boken Red, but especially Boken Black. Masumi is definitely my favorite Bokenger. The shot at the end of the show where he's firing the dual header without the XL Tector, without even the XL suit, and just saying, are you guys gonna fucking help me or not? I think that's so... I think the way he inherited Chief's expectations of the team is really great, and I think that made for a great Black, and it was really interesting to have the second in command not be blue, and have it done so well. I gotta give it up for Masumi. I think he's peak. Boken Black. Bokenger's on top in most of these. Not most of these, but in a lot of these, 3 of them. I'll keep it a buck. 3 of these, but holy shit, was Masumi my favorite Black. My honorable mention goes to Hiachi Oja. I think Kaguragi Dibowski is one of the most interesting characters we've ever gotten in Sentai, and it really was close between him and Masumi, because just under Masumi's inheriting of the Red's expectations and his position is this hard-working, by his bootstraps, giant man who cares so deeply about his people. He does not care what he has to do to make sure his harvest is good and his people are happy. There is something so fascinating about watching Kaguragi. Him having immunity to a monster's whole thing is deception because he's like the Lord of Lies, never knowing what side he's on, but that he's always doing the right thing. I really enjoyed watching Kaguragi throughout all of King Ohger, and I gotta be honest, I think King Ohger was really good. I think the character work was the strong point of the show. I think Dagdad was a great villain, but I specifically really think that characters like Himeno, Rita, and Kaguragi, despite being side characters, really helped make the show what it was. Jeremy, of course, is in there. I fucking love Spider Kumonos. But I really fucking love Hachi Ohger. And so my favorite being Black and Black, and my honorable mention being Hachi Ohger was so easy to do, really. They are phenomenal characters. Please check them out. From black to pink in your area, I'm now going to talk about my favorite Pink Rangers in Super Sentai and Power Rangers. I don't think the first one's very surprising. My favorite Pink Ranger ever is Deca Pink. I'm a really big fan of her, specifically because she's a lot like me. You know, I like to take a good bath. I struggle with my self-value sometimes. But in that lies why I really enjoy her character, is she has a very down-to-earth struggle with being as good as the rest of her team. She has like a couple of episodes dedicated to sort of finding herself and finding what makes her an asset to the Deca Rangers, and I think that's really cool. I think it's actually really well done. The episode where she copies Jasmine is infamous, and even if it's funny, I do think it's kind of sad. She has the episodes early on where she questions herself, and then she has a later episode with Tetsu where it's like, well, why is she on the team? It's because she's never giving up, she's always trying, and she's always doing things her way, and she's becoming the best version of herself. But I think that's really cool. I think Umeko, for that reason, is my favorite Pink Ranger, and I'm really happy that she was in Deca Ranger because the whole cast is great. But she's definitely my favorite in the show, and she's definitely my favorite Pink. My honorable mention also probably won't surprise anybody. It's Shinken Pink. Shirai Shimako is very kind. It's very normal to say something like that for a Pink Ranger. Oh, Pinks are kind, Pinks are nice, Pinks are motherly. But I think Shirai Shimako is, one, a Turtle Ranger, which earns her huge points. She's very direct and kind and well-intentioned in a way that I find very honest and heartwarming, if I'm being honest. So my favorite Pink is Deca Pink, but my honorable mention has to go to Shinken Pink. It's time for the White Rangers, and I think my main pick is a little bit... I think both of my picks are a little bit off, but here, let me do some explaining. My favorite White Ranger in all of Super Sentai and Power Rangers is Deca Break. Now, Deca Break is a little arguable. The Omega Ranger, he's got a little bit of blue, a little bit of gold, but he's mostly white, so we categorize him as a White Ranger. That's totally fine. I think Tetsu is such a great character. He is a textbook and perfectly done definition of the by-the-books guy coming in and being changed for the better by the team around him. And I really love all of the straight-face shenanigans he gets into. He's such a good straight man. He also absolutely serves in drag, and I cannot believe it. No. Deca Break is definitely my favorite White Ranger. My second favorite Deca Ranger character behind Umeko, and man, I really like him as a character. Not only as a character, but I really enjoyed his journey from being this kind of stuck-up special detective unit to becoming genuinely part of the team. I think the Roman numeral 6 as opposed to the numerical 6 on his chest is very funny, and to me it sort of implies the existence that like Tokyo have like assigned numbers, and there's like a Tokyo 1, a Tokyo 2, a Tokyo 3, all the way to 6, and then probably beyond that. And I think that, is there a Tokyo Master? Anyway, I think Deca Break is a phenomenal 6th. I think he's a phenomenal White Ranger, and he's my favorite White Ranger. My honorable mention is actually really tough, because for me, it's tied between Zenkaiser and Spider Kumonos. So I'd like to give my formal honorable mention to Zenkaiser, but right here I want to say that Spider Kumonos is so close. I love Jeremy Spiders so much, especially when he's with Gira, especially when he's doing the Otto. Dude, his suit's so beautiful as well. God damn, do I love Spider Communist. But anyway, my actual full-fledged honorable mention goes to Zenyoku Zenkai Zenkaiza! Himitsu no Power! Goshina Kaito is fucking awesome. He is this big ball of sunshine in a world that so desperately needed it. Not to say that the combined Kikai and human worlds are sad, they're actually kind of not. But I think that his full powerness is infectious. Everything from the way they dance in the intro to his dialogue to even his introspection leaves me with this blooming sense of hope. Goshina Kaito, if it wasn't for Deca Break, would definitely be the best white to ever do it. He is a incredible leader, an incredible Big One reference, an amazing secret power, and a phenomenal White Ranger. So, my favorite's Deca Break, but my honorable mention has to go to Zenkaiser. Damn, that sure was a lot of colors. 7 so far, and we've still got 7 to go, so it looks like we're going to have to do a part 2. Be sure to let me know in the comments what your favorite ranger of every color is, or maybe just your favorite ranger of your favorite color. Hey, even if it's not in this video, I'd love to hear about it, and I might just mention it in the next one. Yes, but until then, if you liked the video, maybe like the video, and if you want to subscribe, I make videos at least once a month. Still learning how copyright works, so bear with me on that. But until then, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.